Hi guys. So as you're aware, we sent a letter off to 520 recipients recently. The letter was notice in the form of affidavit, notice jurisdiction and notice cure and remedy. Okay. So we've had some questions because people want to send the letter off themselves. So I thought I'd do a bit of an explanatory video. Okay. So first and foremost, I suppose, that we as a group have been doing a lot of research, study, and we figured out that this country has been operating under a colour of law, under the Crown, and that would be operating under the Blue Book, okay, which came out in 1942. All right, so we have discovered our real constitution, which seemed to have been suspended in 1939 with the First Amendment. Okay, and what they did was they changed the what it meant for Ireland to be at war, and then it would seem that they then suspended the whole constitution. Okay, and brought out then the Crown incorporated blue constitution. Okay, but this is the primary law of our land. Okay, so what we have done, we sent the letter, okay? So the first part of the letter is rebuttal, okay? And a rebuttal, basically, we're saying to them, to the organs of state, we have these facts that we have laid out in front of you, and we want you to rebut them. And if you don't rebut them, then these will be deemed as factual. Okay, so that is the first part of the letter. All right, it's a rebuttal, and we're telling them that we have enclosed a copy of our constitution. Each one of them got a constitution, 520. Okay, that enclosed is our constitution, and also that we have written a notice. Notice of jurisdiction and notice of cure and remedy. Okay, so let's look at what a notice is first. So I've looked up some definitions and written a few down for me. Okay, so a notice gives formal warning or information as to intentions. Okay, so we have warned the government and provided the information, okay? And our intentions then can be seen further on in the letter, okay? So that's a notice. So the first part of the notice was an affidavit. And an affidavit is a written statement or declaration or testimony or proclamation which you swear to be true and which may be used in a court of law. Okay, so we have sworn an affidavit, okay, and everything in it is true. And most of the information came from the proclamation, the Declaration of Independence, the first sitting of the Dáil, the democratic programme, which was created at the first sitting of the Dáil, etc., and from our Constitution, Bunratnaher in 1937. Okay, so within the affidavit, we are basically saying that we are a sovereign nation, okay, that no government can impede upon our sovereignty. And that's an internal government or external, so they can't impede upon our sovereignty. And that we are endowed when born with natural rights, okay? And our natural rights are enshrined in our Constitution, okay? And those rights are inalienable, indefeasible, and prescriptible, all right? And that means they can't be written away, they can't be taken away, they can't be given away. We have them, and we have them for life. Okay? And no matter what legislation or acts come about, They cannot impede upon our natural rights. Okay. Also, in the affidavit, it talks about our rights deriving from God, and that it's the people under God that decide the questions of national policy. The people, not the government. We have the final say. Okay, so that's part one, which is the affidavit. All right. Part two then is notice jurisdiction. Okay, so jurisdiction is the authority granted by law. Okay, and this is the law. And this grants authority to the likes of the courts, the government, etc. This grants the authority. This is where they derive their authority from. Okay? And that is the jurisdiction, the Irish jurisdiction. Okay? That is the Crown jurisdiction. All right? And right now we are operating under the Crown jurisdiction. All right? So in the notice jurisdiction, we're basically saying to them that we know that we're operating under the Crown, that our courts and everything are operating under the Crown, okay? And that we have discovered that so many things have happened with regards to our jurisdiction over the years. And really, we started from back in 1939, because that was the First Amendment, and it was unconstitutional. And the Taoiseach at the time said that what they were doing was illegal, you know. So, jurisdiction, we have basically said, we know that we're not in the correct jurisdiction, and we want the jurisdiction of this country corrected. Okay? Somebody I know actually was in court, and a guard admitted to him that the courts are being run by the Crown establishment. All right? So we know this to be true. Okay? So we need to correct the jurisdiction of our courts so that Irish people can access the full canopy of law and access justice under the full canopy of law. And this is the full canopy of law. Okay. So we have outlined in the notice jurisdiction the various things that have happened throughout the years since 1939, which has tried to impede upon our jurisdiction. All right. With the joining of the EU and all that kind of thing, and the WHO now putting their 2 cents worth in, and they want to become the global government for health, etc. And apparently now as well our over 65s. The EU is going to be dealing with our over 65s, you know. So we need to correct the jurisdiction, all right? So that was part 2, jurisdiction. Part 3 was notice of cure and remedy. And the cure and remedy, basically, we provided what the wrongdoings were, what they have done against the Irish people and the country as a whole. Okay. So we're saying to them that we're hereby notifying you that you have not been acting as pursuant to Irish law. All right? And if the Irish law is set out in the Irish Constitution. Okay? And the reason that each one of those 520 recipients got this book, The Rule of Law, is because they have been operating out of the Blue Book. Okay? And ignorance of law is no excuse. So, we made sure that they have the law. So now they can't say they don't know the law. Okay? So, we have basically said to them that these are all the wrongdoings. And here is the cure. The cure and the remedy for this is for us to start operating once again out of the Constitution that the Irish people voted for. And it was meant to be the law of this country. There was never an intention for another constitution to be in existence. This is the Constitution. Okay? So, the remedy and cure that we felt was the most viable was that we invoke our real Constitution. Okay? And to invoke means that you appeal to a law as an authority to put into legal effect, to call for the observance of a law, to put into operation, or putting into effect such things as law. So we have invoked our Constitution. We are telling them that this is the authority and this is Irish law. You haven't been following Irish law and now you need to get back to Irish law. Okay? So that was the affidavit, the notice of jurisdiction, the notice of cure and remedy. All right? So the other thing, apart from invoking our Constitution, we have asked for a judicial review and determination. So we want acts and statutes that have been brought into law in this country and that have been used over the Irish people, we want them to be looked at because we can see that a lot of these acts and statutes are not for the benefit of the Irish people. Okay? So we want a lot of these acts and statutes reviewed. All right? And we want a determination. And that means that, you know, there's an outcome. All right? And it's the Supreme Court that deals with constitutional issues. So we'd hope to get to the Supreme Court. All right? So part 4 of this was the signatories. And so many people wanted to sign this document. So many people. But unfortunately, due to, I suppose, having to travel around all over the country with one document, because we needed one document for everybody to sign the one document, because that's going to be the original and that's kept on record. So we couldn't actually go around the country and get everybody's signatures. But it actually leaves it then that people can print this off now and send it off themselves and sign it themselves. Okay. So I'll go through the document here a wee minute. All right. So the first part of the document, when the government or whoever will take it out of the envelope, they will see, and that's the rebuttal notice, the rebuttal letter. Okay. And it gives them 28 days to rebut the facts put before them. And all these facts that we have laid out, they must rebut them within 28 days. And if they don't rebut, then the facts that we have stated will stand as facts in law. Okay? So that's the first one. So up at the top, we put our address here. Then we'd put an email address underneath. We put the date. Now you can see that's in your first National Official Principal text. It's the Clog Gaelic. Okay? And that's the first thing that will be seen. That comes first. So you'll see here it says so that's dear. Okay? So all you've got to do then is put in the name of the person, man or woman, that you want to send it to. So it's probably best to send it maybe to the President first and foremost, because he is the guardian of the Constitution. So all you've got to write there is President Michael D. Higgins. All right. So the next thing that we did, so we put the name on it. The next thing that we did, we got some 2-cent stamps. All right, you can't really see that, can you? No. So 2-cent stamps. Okay. And what we did was we placed it beside the stamp of St. Patrick. Okay, you can't really see that. I just placed it on there. Beside the stamp of St. Patrick, so we've got the tricolour, the St. Patrick stamp, and then we placed another stamp on it. Okay, and stamps give it more authority, give a document more authority. Okay, then you'll turn it over and you'll see that it's blank on the next page. So it's not good to have blank pages. So what we did there as well is we stuck a stamp in the middle. Okay, giving it more authority as well. Okay, so we just stuck it in the middle there, all right. Now moving on to the next page. Okay, that was part 1. So on every page then you can see that we have the tricolour and we have another stamp then, and that is actually a stamp that came out to celebrate the introduction of Bunreacht na hÉireann in 1937. All right, so that's quite a significant stamp. All right. So this is the last part within the Irish part, okay? And this is the signatories. And you can see there that we've done it in Clogh Gaelic. And you can get the Clogh Gaelic alphabet online, and then you can write your name in Clogh Gaelic yourself. So there's space there that you can fill in or sign there. You can sign down here, or you can sign over to the right hand side as well if there's more than, say, 2 signatories. You can also sign at the top. All right, so there's spaces there for you to put your signature. All right, your signature. Now, so then we go into the English side of the document, all right? So it's exactly the same as the Irish, all right? The address goes there, email address if you want, make sure you put the date, and then it says dear, all right? And then you just place the name in there. So President Michael D. Higgins, I suppose, okay? And you can send it to anybody you wish on the list of the 250 people, because they all now have the Bunreacht, the rule of law for this island. Okay? So what we did there as well, we placed a stamp beside that St. Patrick's stamp again. Okay? So we just, it's only a 2-cent stamp, guys, all right? So that's that. Then we move through to the next page, rather, because that's blank as well. All right, and that's the letter in English. The back of it is blank. So just place another stamp in the middle. Okay, just like that. All right. And then we'll move through the document, and then we can get to the very end, and that's part 4 again. All right, and that's the signatories, and that's the English letter, or names and that are still in Clogh Gaelic. All right. And then you can move on then to the list of recipients. Okay, so that's the first page, and then we can go over then to the next page, and that's actually the final page of the document, and that's 250 people. All right, and so what we did as well to finish off the document is that we placed a stamp there as well. Okay, just like that. All right, 2-cent stamp. Okay, so that's the document. All right, now just to highlight that, yes, the 250 recipients, all right, those that got, the 250 recipients, all right, so 488 people got a rebuttal letter, and 32 got a letter for your information. All right, let me just show you that. Okay, so that was the rebuttal letter. All right, and then this is the one that people got for your information, that they didn't get a rebuttal letter where they'll have to rebut the facts put before them. Okay, so there's certain people. Let's take, for example, Christina Anderson. She's been speaking out in the European Parliament. So we sent her a constitution and a letter as well. So this is basically exactly the same. This is exactly the same, apart from it states that we have given the organs of state within the so-called Republic, so-called Northern Ireland, and the UK. We have furnished them with a constitution, and they have been given 28 days to rebut the facts put before them. So that was the FYI letter. Okay, so just to recap, 488 people got the rebuttal letter, and 32 got the FYI letter. And the FYI letter really was, I suppose, to make people aware and maybe muster up some support for the Irish nation. All right. So, I don't think there's anything else with regards. Oh, yeah, actually. So, there's no black ink on this letter whatsoever. Okay. We did the script in green. And we did it in green because, number one, we didn't want any black on the letter. And number two, that it signifies the Irish nation and the land. Green. Okay. I suppose just to recap, guys, that all this talk of constitutional amendments, etc., the proposed amendments coming up here in March, just to remember that our natural rights are enshrined in our Constitution, Articles 40 to 44. All right. So Article 40 is your natural rights. What's coming up? The hate speech bill. You know, the right to free speech. That's Article 40. Article 41 is the family. And we know that they're trying to take woman out of the Constitution, mother out of the Constitution. I can't really say much about that. It's just not good. So Article 42 is the right to educate your children yourself. So if we think about the mother, and the woman, and the family, and all that kind of thing being changed within the Constitution, how will that affect our ability to educate our children? Because if they remove mother and woman out of the Constitution, our place in the home, rearing our children and educating them and that kind of thing will be gone, you know, and our children will be educated elsewhere, okay? And the stuff that they're learning in school at the minute and the proposals of what's coming down the line, just not good, people. Just not good. All right. So that is the education. Then we have Article 43, which is private property. And we know that they're looking at a private property bill coming along. And I told my mother that, you know, there's a great possibility coming down the line that the government could turn around and tell her, oh, this house is far too big for you. We've got a wee flat in the town. You can move in there. A family needs this. And just take her home of her, you know. So the private property bill, need to keep an eye on that, you know. So there's your Article 40 to 44, and we can see that these natural rights are now being attacked, you know. They want to take the natural rights out of the Constitution, and they want to do that for a reason, okay. So Article 40 to 44, if those are removed, what are we left with? Well, the rest of the Constitution is about government, the organs of state and all the rest, and how they're set up and how you go about things and all. And it's Article 40 to 44 that protects us, you know. So very important that we have the protection of our Constitution. So very important. I hope I've covered everything. Oh, sorry. When you send the letter, can send it by registered post, okay? And then you can track it. And it also gives it more authority. If it's sent by registered post, you can keep an eye on it. It'll be good then that when you track it and you see that they've received it, that you print off the signature and keep it as a record for yourself, all right? But when you go to the post office and you're posting this, when you send by registered post, there's the little sticker with a number on it. Take off that little sticker, put it onto your receipt, Take a photograph of the receipt with the sticker on it and the recipient's name, for example, the President's name. Take a photograph of that, send it to us on Bunrock, and we will keep account of everybody that has received one of these letters, one of these rebuttal letters. Okay? And if you so wish, you can video yourself doing it, and we'll put it up on our YouTube for other people to see. All right? You don't have to video your face or anything like that. All right? So, I hope this video has been of some use and explained a few things. And this project was done by people who are not affiliated with any political groups or anything like that. We just love our nation. We love our country. We want this country to be here in years to come. We want to honour the people that came before us, that loved their country and loved their people and stood up and fought for their country. You know, I said before that we have been looking for a solution for the last few years, and this is the only viable solution that we have found. That so many people are out there moaning and groaning and complaining and all the rest, but they're not actually trying to come up with any solutions. So we felt that we could do this for our nation, and I suppose now it's up to the people to get behind it and invoke their constitution and ask for judicial review. So all the hard work has been done, and all you guys need to do is print it off. So you can print it off in your library. I don't have a printer, so I just go to the library and get things printed off. So you can send it to yourself via email and access your emails when you're in the library, and then print it off from your emails in the library. Or we are going to get it put up on YouTube. We're finding it a little bit difficult to do that at the minute, but it'll hopefully be on our website as well. So then, rather than, some people forget their passwords, etc., for their email addresses when they go to the library. So we're hoping then that you can just go in to the computer in the library, go on to the website, bunrock1937.ie, and then you can download it and print it off from there. Ask them to print it in green ink, which they will have. So get it printed both sides, apart from the letter. Remember, the actual letter itself came like that, and then it was blank at the back, but the rest of the documents are done on both sides. Okay, and they'll save you paper as well. Okay, so then you can go into the website, print it off, and get it sent off through registered post with Unpushed. Okay. I wish you all well, and thank you for getting behind this project. It's a project by the people, for the people. Governmental.